I'm really excited to share what we're working on at the Feon Energy. So at the Feon, what we're doing is to developing the next generation batteries to allow electric vehicle to drive 700 miles with just a 10 minutes charge. And a little bit about ourselves. So Feon Energy, we just started about half a year ago. We founded in September 2022. As Clarence mentioned, actually we formerly known as Elite Technology. We just changed our name this week. And we were spin out from Stanford University, from Professor Zhenan Bao and Professor Yi Cui's lab at Stanford. So the core electrolyte molecules technology was developed here at Stanford under the sponsorship of Department of Energy under the Battery 500 consortium. So our IP portfolio, we are licensing for patents from Stanford, which we developed at Stanford, and we also generated 2 new patents ever since we started about 6 months ago, and we'll also continue generating new IPs. So right now, our technology has been validated by national labs and top researchers, including Nobel Prize winner Stan Whittingham. And right now we have 11 MTAs across different industry, including the top automobile manufacturers and consumer electronics and battery companies. So right now we already acquired our first payment in the 3rd month of the establishment of the company. So that's a little bit about ourselves, and we'd love to share what we're working on. So if we look at the consumer electronics right now, we want to generate more sensors into the device, and we want to integrate more power-hungry features into the device. But you can see on the right-hand side, that's an Apple Watch. More than half of the volume is already occupied by the battery in this compact body. So you can see definitely battery is the limiting factor over there. And also for the electric vehicle, the top 3 reasons people are not buying them is first, it's too expensive. Second, not enough range. And then it just takes too long to charge. Actually, both of those huge markets was limited by the batteries. In short, we want a battery has a higher energy density, which means at the same weight or same volume, you can put more energy into it while driving costs down. But the challenge is the existing lithium-ion batteries is already hitting the limit. As a matter of fact, if we look at no matter the cost or the energy density in the past 3 years, they have already plateaued. So that's why we need some disruptive technology to provide a step function change into this field. That's where we stand. Sorry about maybe the deck, since we just changed the name in this week. So you can maybe are going to see some E-light on the deck as well. And yeah, so what we offer here is something called a lithium metal battery. And it can offer 70% higher energy density than the best lithium-ion batteries you can get today on the market. And we have a 20% reduced cost, while still can achieve fast charging. We can charge from 80% within 12 minutes. We also have improved safety, and it's a completely drop-in solution, which means we can utilize the existing supply chain and manufacturing infrastructure. We're going to double-click on each one of the parameters over here. First, let's look at the energy density, right? So what does it mean for 70% higher energy density? This 70% increment is actually the largest leap in the history of battery. If we translate those energy density into different applications, for EV, you can drive 700 miles per charge. And for consumer electronics or drone, you can double your mission time. And for some other application, for instance, electrified aviation, for those aircraft is extremely weight sensitive. If you can reduce the battery pack's weight, you can put more passengers into your vehicle. So you can reduce your operating cost drastically. And but the thing is, what is the lithium metal battery? The lithium metal battery is actually people consider it as the holy grail of lithium battery. The difference between lithium metal and the lithium ion, which you can see on the left-hand side on this deck. So the conventional lithium ion batteries actually have 3 components, mostly. The green part, which is something called cathode, and the grayish part, you can call it anode. It's basically just the positive and negative electrodes of your battery. And when the battery is manufactured, actually all the lithium is just in the green part, in the cathode. And when you're charging the battery, the lithium just moving to the anode side, and when you're discharging, it's moving back. So you can see the anode is just an empty house. It doesn't provide any capacity. So people start to think, why do we even want to pay half of the weight and the volume for an empty house? So that's the idea. So here, what we're doing is we remove this graphite, this anode, completely. So on the right-hand side, you can see this battery just has the green part. And by removing the anode side, we have a 50% cost of volume and weight reduction, and also 20% cost reduction. So that's why we have those gigantic improvements on the energy density. And the difference is when you're charging the battery, the lithium will go to the anode side and form lithium metal. That's the only difference. So your battery will be much, much smaller. The thing is, this concept is not new. Lithium metal battery, this concept has been around for maybe 4 decades. But it's extremely challenging to accomplish. That's why it's not commercialized yet. The major challenge is something called the lithium dendrite. On the left-hand side, you can see when you're generating lithium metal in your battery, they are not going to plating out as a flat surface. They are going to form those needle-shaped structure in your battery. You can see from the left bottom picture, those are wire-shaped needle. Those needle is actually going to damage your battery. So your battery poses the risk of catching fire, and you cannot really charge and discharge your battery for a long time. Maybe you do it for maybe 20 times, your battery dies. And what's the difference in our lithium metal batteries? You can see on the right-hand side, the lithium metal in our battery is completely flat. Again, those kind of morphology has never been achieved in the history in the lithium metal batteries. And because of this morphology change, we can achieve extremely high energy density as a lithium metal battery, and without the downside of lithium metal batteries. The way and also those morphology change translates to performance. You can see our technology can make the battery last much, much longer versus all the existing technologies out there. And another added benefit is about safety. Our core technology is the electrolyte in the system, which is the liquid in the battery, which is non-flammable. And the conventional electrolyte is extremely flammable. That's why lithium battery is not so safe. And but the question is, how did we do it? So what we did is basically reinvent the electrolyte molecules. We invented some molecules never existed in the past. So when we started this journey about 5 years ago at Stanford, and when we look at all the existing material, all the existing electrolytes, if you want to achieve the lithium metal batteries, you have to check all those boxes on the performance scheme, also at a low cost. But the thing is, all the existing molecules cannot do that. So most of the players in the field, they are just taking off the shelf, mix them together, try and hope to find a mixture can solve this challenge. But the thing is, those materials doesn't exist. So we went one step further. We invent new molecules. We took this idea, regenerated for 3 generations at Stanford. Finally, we came up with a new group of molecules can address all those performance requirements at a low cost. And that's why our technology has 20% cost reduction because we removed the graphite, and we can maybe discuss a little bit more on this end. So in general, since we removed the graphite, we have a 20% cost reduction. And the innovation in our technology is actually in electrolyte, which is just 5% of the entire battery cost. And in this 5%, only 18% of this 5%, which translates to 1% of the entire battery, goes into the solvent, is where our innovation at. We reinvent the solvent, which is just 1% of the cost of the battery. Yet you just change something is 1%, but you change the entire performances. So you can see 100 times the leverage over there. But the thing is, there are a lot of good technology out there, especially from a national lab, from universities. But if you can scale, that's a big question. But fortunately, our technology is scalable from day one. So that's why we can achieve massive scalability in the past 5 months. So we scaled up our electrolyte production for 1,000 times. Right now, we can do 100 kilograms per batch, which means one batch is enough for making about 20,000 batteries. We also scaled up our battery form factor from 0.2 amp hours. You generally can find those size of battery in your smartwatch to 4 amp hours, which you can find those kind of size of battery in iPhone. And also, we deliver the very good performance in a large format batteries. So if you're familiar with this sector, people normally takes like years, 7 or 8 years, and hundreds of $1 million investment to achieve what we have achieved in 5 months. So which can really tells you the uniqueness of our technology. It's a truly drop-in solution. So that's basically the background of our technology. As I mentioned, we have 11 MTAs, and as a team, my name is Wen Xiaohu. I'm the co-founder CEO. I have a background in the material science. I was a postdoc at Stanford, and I was also the engineering team lead at Enervenue. So we took a lab technology, scaled up for 2 million times, and raised $132 million in my previous company. And my co-founder, he was the PhD at Stanford in chemistry, and he was the inventor of our technology. He also worked at Tesla and ByteDance. Our advisor is Professor Zhenan Bao, who was the chair of chemical engineering at Stanford University. And that's Feon Energy. Thank you.